Well, folks, the days just keep getting shorter on us. And while it's getting colder and darker by the day, there are two things that continue to heat up and get brighter: holiday season and college basketball season. And just in time for the holidays, the greater Olympia-Lacey community gets not one, but two great presents to unwrap here inside Marcus Pavilion today. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for tuning in on a chilly and rainy Saturday afternoon for the Capital Classic and a matinee doubleheader edition of St. Martin's basketball. Alongside Saints Director of Athletic Communications, Austin Burns, I'm Jeff Lucero, happy to be here with you for the live broadcast on the Saints Digital Network. Our first Capital Classic game of the day pits the Saints against a longtime crosstown rival, the Evergreen State College Geoducks. We'd also like to welcome in any Geoducks fan tuning in with us today. Very nice to have you along for the broadcast as well. And for these two crosstown foes, this is the first time that they've faced each other in an official game since 2012. 9 years have passed since the Capital Classic took its show on the road north to Bellingham. The Saints won the last game that counted on either of these two programs' records on Western Washington's home court as part of the Linda Goodrich Classic. Since then, these teams have played exhibition games against one another, but this is the first game in any capacity between these two schools in 4 years. It's been since 2017. We'll talk matchups and more rivalry history shortly, but first, let's chat about the home team. And for the Saints, they come into today's game a little worse for the wear, having dropped their last two contests after winning their first 5 to start the season. But they are also well rested because their last scheduled game was postponed. This is the Saints' first game action in 9 full days. And about that 5-game heater to start the season, the explosion fresh out of the gate was enough to catch the attention of voters across the nation who rewarded the Saints with their first ever national ranking. That number 25 ranking was put squarely to the test in the Saints League opener against top-ranked Anchorage 9 days ago here in Marcus Pavilion. And while the Saints gave the Seawolves everything they had, Anchorage's withering pressure defense proved to be just a bit too much in the end. Despite committing 25 turnovers, 17 in the first half alone, the Saints still hung tough all night. And they played some downright smothering defense of their own, limiting a very efficient Anchorage offense to just 35% shooting from the floor. Claire Dingus, well, she was out here doing Claire Dingus things, finishing the night with 14 points, 8 boards, and 5 assists. And Tierney DeDonis contributed 12 points of her own. But the big story for the Saints against the Seawolves that night was the emergence of Ryan Clear, who led the team with 17 points and 8 boards. She hit several clutch shots at times when her team seemingly needed them the most. And she's a huge reason why the Saints hung around for all 40 minutes against the number 1 team in the nation. Let's now bring in Austin Burns to the broadcast. And Austin, despite losses in their last 2 games, the Saints look like they are absolutely legit. They just went nose-to-nose with one of the truly elite teams in the country and held their own from start to finish. Not only that, but how about the play of Ryan Clear that night? During the broadcast, you said, and I'm kind of paraphrasing here, that we were watching Ryan Clear's coming out party. You, my friend, could not have been more right about that. She busted out in that game in a big way. And that's got to be something that Saints head coach Christy Martin has to feel good about. The number of different players stepping up and continuing to develop and improve, especially once her team gets back into conference play.
Absolutely, Jeff. The Saints have 2 quality losses on their resume, going on the road 2,500 miles to Texas A&M International, and then it doesn't get much better than a loss to the number 1 team in the country. So even though it's 2 losses, it is still 2 high-quality losses. And Jeff, Ryan Clear, she's a superstar in the making, and she's kind of getting a little overshadowed right now, and rightfully so, by Claire Dingus. She's an All-American Dingus, so you're going to shine the light on her. But Ryan Clear is emerging as that counterpart, that Robin to Batman almost, the Pippin to Jordan maybe even. And so, Ryan Clear, she's going to be a force. It's fun watching her play. Tierney DeDonis has also been stepping up quite a bit, in the point guard role without Josie Matz in the lineup. For me, this Saints team, getting back on the court 9 days since their last game, they're hungry. They want to win. They want to get back into that top 25.
We will take a quick break here on the pregame show as time winds closer to the opening tip of Game 1 of the 2021 Capital Classic. Once we return, we'll preview the Saints' opponent this afternoon, the crosstown Evergreen Gooey Ducks. You are dialed in to the St. Martin's Women's Basketball pregame show on the Saints Digital Network.
And welcome back into the Saints Digital Network. And a special moment occurred for the Saints earlier this season. Claire Dingus hitting the 1,000 career points mark. You knew it was only a matter of when, not if, with Claire. And she passed that mark, joining a legendary group of Saints to hit that mark. So congratulations to Claire Dingus, 1,000 career points. What a special achievement for her.
Yeah, well, when it's all said and done, Claire Dingus might very well be the leading scorer in the history of this program. Time will tell, but if she can stay healthy, there's no reason why she can't threaten that all-time number. Fans, it is time for a quick look at today's opponent for the Saints. Now, the Gooey Ducks enter today's game with an overall record of 3-4, but that's after dropping their first 3 games of the season. So Gooey Ducks head coach Jackie Robinson has got his squad heading in a promising direction, riding the ship by winning 3 of their last 4. It's also worth noting that these are the first 7 games the Gooey Ducks have played in nearly 2 years. Unlike the Saints, Evergreen did not schedule any games earlier this season. Their last game action was in February of 2020. And after today, their record will still be 3-4. While this game counts as an official game for the Saints, it is an exhibition for Evergreen. It's no secret around the Gooey Ducks program who the de facto best player is on this team. Without a doubt, it's got to be Trinity Batoni. Her numbers aren't where they were 2 years ago, not quite yet anyway, but make no mistake, she is just plain different, a supremely talented scorer who can detonate at any time. 2 years ago, she averaged 20.2 points and 7.7 rebounds per game, and she's coming off her best game of the season, having notched 23 points, 6 boards, 3 assists, and 5 steals last time out. Now, this isn't a very deep team at all. They really only go about 6, maybe 7 deep. Overall, the Gooey Ducks average 63.5 points per game. They're shooting 38% from the floor, 27% from 3, and 70% at the foul line. Thing is, though, Austin, they come in today with literally nothing to lose. Remember, this is an exhibition game for the Gooey Ducks. They come in with a record of 3-4, and they'll leave with a record of 3-4. So really and truly, they cannot lose today. They also have a solid front line in Trinity Batoni and Jalen Sackrider. And since the Saints can, in fact, lose today, as this game does count on their schedule, they'd be wise not to look past a team looking to level up against a D2 opponent here this afternoon.
Absolutely. They got a big task in front of them, but it's always nice to be able to come, 10 minutes down the road, depending on traffic. It's always nice to get that local game. It's great for the community. And Evergreen, they play in a very tough CCC conference at the NAIA level. I mean, that's another conference just like the GNAC, where if you're not prepared every night, you could walk away with a loss. And so, this will be a great test for them here going into their conference season here shortly. I expect this team, they're going to give it all. They're a well-coached squad. Jackie Robinson's done a great job building this program. I'm excited to see where the future holds, what the future holds for the Gooey Ducks. And, this will be a great test for them. This will be one of their toughest opponents they face all year on the road. But what more could you ask for as a nice tune-up heading into conference?
Well, we've got a little extra time here, so let's quickly talk for just a moment about the recent history of this rivalry. As we mentioned toward the top of the pregame show, this is the first time that Evergreen and St. Martin's have played one another in 4 years. It's been since 2017. The game has not counted as an official game for either team since 2012, so it counts tonight for the Saints, an exhibition for Evergreen here this evening. 2012, the last time that they saw one another in what was an official game for both of them, a 53-45 victory for the Saints up in Bellingham as part of the Linda Goodrich Classic. By the way, there's a couple of interesting sort of cross-pollination things here as afoot this afternoon as well. McKenna Schultz, longtime Saints player, played her high school basketball at River Ridge while Evergreen head coach Jackie Robinson was the head coach there. So she played for head coach Jackie Robinson in high school before coming to St. Martin's and playing here. She's also been helping out with the program. She's been helping out at practice, running some players through some drills. So hopefully we'll see McKenna Schultz here in the stands this evening, as she has obviously ties to both of these programs. Another funny one that we'll get into, former Saints player Emma Kennedy, her younger brother Lane on the men's team, who we will see later on this afternoon in the nightcap of the Capital Classic. We will step away here for the national anthem. Fans will come right back, though, and set the stage with some starting lineups and a few last-second thoughts on Game 1 of the Capital Classic. This has been the St. Martin's Women's Basketball pregame show on the St. Martin's Digital Network. And welcome back inside Marcus Pavilion for Game 1 of the 2021 Capital Classic between the Evergreen Gooey Ducks and the St. Martin Saints. Our first game of the day, women's basketball action between these two programs for the first time since 2017. Could not be more fired up about it. You have the starting lineups on your screen, so I will dispense with being redundant on the broadcast. Austin, talking to Jackie Robinson a little bit before the game. This is a thin team, but they're going to play zone basically all night. Likely won't come out of it at all. What are you wanting to see from this Evergreen team as they are looking to pull a gigantic upset here in the first? What are you looking for from them in the first 5, 6, 7 minutes of this game?
I think it's going to be the defense. I mean, St. Martin's is going to want to run and get out. The zone defense is there to try and slow the game down. That's the point of it, and spread the offense out and force outside attacks. And so I think Evergreen, it's going to be coming up with some defensive stops to start, get the game under your feet, slow it down to your level, and then let's go ahead and proceed from there. And so for me, it's going to be the start for Evergreen.
For the Saints, they're coming off back-to-back losses after a 5-0 start to their season, so definitely looking to course correct here this evening, looking to get right. This is the first of 3 non-conference games coming up for the Saints. They will next square off against Pacific on Thursday night, wrap up the non-conference portion of their schedule next Friday against Simpson, if I believe.
Correct.
So the first of 3 final non-conference games getting set to tip off here in just a moment. Fans, thank you so much for hanging out with us here this afternoon. We've got 2 games today. Remember, men's basketball follows the women's game. And for the Saints in the first, they've been off for 9 days, Austin. Do you expect to see any rust, any cobwebs? You expect to see them just get on the court and get right after it?
Yeah, I don't think you can have rust when you have a point guard like Tierney. I mean, she's going to be fired up. She's going to make sure this team's ready to go. You know, again, it's going to be, I think, get the ball to Claire, see what she can do. And then kind of move that ball out to Ryan Clear. You know, the Saints got a lot of weapons on the floor in the starting lineup. I expect them to go right away to Claire or Ryan and try and get some points up early.
Evergreen controls the opening tip. We are underway. The Gooey Ducks come out in the road blacks. They are moving left to right on your radio dial. Saints in their traditional home blacks. Jalen Sackrider in the high post. Sets an illegal screen as she hands it off to Matoni on her way to the basket. Check that foul whistled against Monique Bundy. So an early foul whistled against the Gooey Ducks on the opening possession of the game. Just underway here on the campus of St. Martin's in Lacey. Adonis flips the pass into the hands of Ryan Clear. Now she looks to lob it down low for Dingus, who has good position down low. Can't finish beneath the basket, grabs her own miss. And she'll rotate back outside. Adonis, the floater, just inside the free throw line, and it falls. Tierney Adonis puts the first points on the board for the Saints.
I told you there can't be rust when you have Tierney on the floor. I mean, she's just always locked in, always ready to go. And that zone defense for the Gooey Ducks came real far out. It allowed that backdoor pass. We'll see if the Gooey Ducks play a little more conservative.
Munge seems to just trip over the three-point line. Gives it up. Here's the Saints on the run out. Adonis leads the break, hands it off for Dingus. She'll finish on the right side of the paint, and the Saints with the first 4 points of the game.
Well, and that's what Claire does. She's playing down on the low block and gets all the way. She's the second player to the rim on a breakout like that. I mean, that's what you love to see if you're a coach, the hustle.
This is Batoni handling. Feathers a pass down low for Rachel Watson. Now Sackrider in the paint. Goes to work on Dingus. Shot hard off the glass, no good. Weak side rebound. Covered up by Emily Nelson, and back come the Saints. Adonis will back things out in front of the Evergreen bench. Lauren Morris gets a touch at the top of the key. Now over to Clear. She'll try for 3. That one a little bit too strong. Trinity Batoni all alone beneath the basket to clean it up for the Gooey Ducks.
And this possession's already huge for the Gooey Ducks. Need some points here on the board. Had a good look in the last possession. Want something like that again.
Here's Batoni looking inside, guarded by Morris. Reverses it. Back for Bungay. She'll pull up from the elbow and bank it home from there. The 16-foot mid-range jumper kind of offline out of her hand. I'm not quite sure that's what she meant to do. Nevertheless, the first couple of points for the Gooey Ducks on the board.
Hey, playing like some 1980s basketball, using the glass. Love to see it.
Clear into the high post for Nelson. Kicks back for Morris. One dribble. And gives it back. Skip pass into the corner for Adonis. Bluffs it a 3 now. Drives the baseline. Hesitation move. Gets to the rack. No good. Put back for Nelson. Won't fall. And Rachel Watson, the rebound for Evergreen. 2.5 minutes gone by, 4-2 our score. Tony skips to her left when she clears the timeline. Morris comes out to get her. Now drifts toward the St. Martin's bench. eschews the screen, hesitates, now pulls back near the baseline. 14-footer will fall, and we're tied. There's the first look of the afternoon for Trinity Batoni. Remember, she's an electrifying scorer, and she gets her first 2 there.
Oh, and the Geoducks doing exactly what they need to do. Now playing some defense, coming up with some stops, converting on the offensive end. Just exactly what the Geoducks wanted. Slow this game down.
Al Morris will try for 3. A little strong. Well, it nearly banged in as it came back toward the cylinder. Instead, Rachel Watson there towing the baseline. Gathers the rebound, and back come the Geoducks. Caitlin Yenny now gets her first touch. Into the high post for Sackrider. Yenny on the drive. Switches right to left. Tough angled shot. Well short. Here comes Clear on the run out. Up ahead to Didadonis. No look pass to Ryan Clear, who fills the lane and finishes. Didadonis now has 2 assists in the early goings to go along with a bucket. She's been involved in every single offensive scoring possession for the Saints.
And on that transition, it was Claire Dingus zoning out to the outside. That opens up a lane, and they don't track Ryan Clear. Wide open lane to the basket. Great job by Tierney as well to see that and make the right read.
Batoni on the drive, fouled from behind by Lauren Morris. She'll head to the line. Tony's first free throw on the way. It whistles through. Tony once again coming off the best game of her season so far. Off to a little bit of a slower start by her standards anyway. Remember, she averaged just over 20 points and just under 8 rebounds per game 2 seasons ago for this Geoduck team. She's the only returning player for Jackie Robinson. A whole new cast of characters on this team. Ryan Clear somehow manages to navigate her way down the lane. Stays composed, banks it home. 8-5 St. Martin's as Ryan Clear gets her first bucket.
You just love watching Ryan Clear play. I mean, it's just gritty, it's tough, and she makes smart reads. I mean, again, she's only a freshman, folks. I mean, athletically, she's going to be a superstar.
Tries to hand a pass off inside for Nelson. That one perhaps ill-advised as it rolls out of bounds. The Saints' first turnover of the game. About 4.5 minutes have ticked off the clock here in the first quarter. And the Geoducks will send their first sub to the floor. This is Tasha Beckett, Pleasant Grove. 6-foot sophomore, Pleasant Grove, Utah, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
She steps onto the floor for her first burn tonight. Batoni picked up by Morris. Drifts down the left wing. Reverses it for Beckett. Spins off a defender, but throws it out of bounds. But it was last touched by the Saints. It will stay with the Geoducks with 16 on the shot clock.
Well, I think in all honesty, both coaches pretty happy how this game's starting. If you're Evergreen, you're within 3. You're getting some good looks at the basket. For the Saints, you're getting the ball into Ryan Clear and Claire Dingus's hands, and they're making things happen. Right now, good start for both sides.
Geoducks content to let the offense run through Batoni. She's not a natural point guard, but she's handling point guard duties for the most part. Tries to get the 3 off. Couldn't get it out of her hand. Would have been a shot clock regardless, as it did not touch the rim. So a good defensive stand for the Saints after they had turned it over at their end.
And the Saints, one of the best defensive teams in the GNAC, showing it on display already.
Lauren Morris down low, kicks it outside for Didadonis, fakes a 3, steps inside the line, and she hits from 17. Tierney Didadonis really fueled herself in the early goings. Couple of buckets, couple of assists, doing it all for the Saints. Here's Sackrider going to work. Spins away from Emily Nelson, and she'll knock down the 8-footer. And a timeout called for by Jackie Robinson will send us to our first stoppage in play. The Saints with an early 3-point advantage on the St. Martin's Digital Network. 10-7, the early score. First game of the 2021 Capital Classic. It's the Crosstown Showdown. The Evergreen State College NAIA school from the Cascade Collegiate Conference squaring off against their rivals from Lacey. GNAC members, NCAA Division II. And a little pressure picked up in backcourt for the Gooey Ducks. A little bit of a different look coming out of the timeout. Saints break it. Morris controls. Flips it back up top for Didonis. Into the corner for Dingus. Working around the zone into the high post now for Budeman, who's fresh on the floor for the Saints. Now Morris on the drive. Leaves it off for Ryan Clear. And she banks it home. Ryan Clear with half a dozen. Great pass inside from Lauren Morris.
Yeah, and the Saints did a nice job splitting the defense. They saw when the moment that zone collapsed, they were able to find the open Saint on the floor, convert for the basket. That's exactly how you want to play against that zone defense. Get the ball in the middle, then work out.
Petoni rolls off the screen, walks into a three, a little bit too strong. Didonis tracks down the long rebound, and she wants to run. Pushing ahead, now she'll back out. Near the Evergreen bench, looking inside. Skip pass across for Ryan Clear. Now back to Didonis, down low for Maren Budeman. High off the glass, and it goes. Make that Shinoa Louie, excuse me. Pardon me. That was Louie on the floor, not Budeman.
Budeman about to check in. I think that's what it was.
That's exactly what it was. Sure, let's go with that. Remember, I make about 37 mistakes each broadcast. Beautiful runner from Caitlin Yeti. She angles toward the basket. Drifting out of bounds as she let that one go, able to get it home. Draws the Gooey Ducks back within 5 at 14-9. Exactly 3 minutes to play here in the first quarter. Didonis hands it off for Morris. Now Louie in the high post, kicks to the corner for Didonis. Skip pass for Clear. Down low, good position, Claire Dingus, and she finishes from there. And the Saints back to that largest lead at 7, 16-9, 2:40 to play. Saints doing a great job getting the ball down low.
Yeah, and it's the ball movement. When you're playing a zone like that, you have to be able to whip the ball across the court to take advantage of a defense that's overshadowing, and that's exactly what the Saints did. So, again, unselfish, that's how you beat a zone. You have to be unselfish and great passing.
How about this already for the Saints as well? 7 assists on 8 made baskets. Wow. They are setting their teammates up for success in the early goings. Saints shooting 61.5% from the floor so far. Louie, ball high above her head. Kicks outside for Budeman, who is now on the floor. She handles here, back to the high post for Louie. That ball knocked out of bounds by Sackrider. It will stay with the Saints. 13 on the shot clock, 2:16 to play in the first quarter.
And Gooey Ducks really starting now to bite hard on those passes. Wide open three for Ryan Clear. Just, again, Saints just setting each other up. Easy inbound play. She comes off unmarked, easy. But what I was starting to say was the Gooey Ducks really starting to commit hard. That's where a pump fake one way, you're going to have yourself set up for a shot. Gooey Ducks really starting to play aggressive on that zone. Saints are going to have to take advantage of that.
That three cast no good from Yenny. Saints now with a double-digit lead here in the first quarter. Didonis on the run. Challenges 3. Defenders, gets all the way to the rack. Shot won't fall, but she's fouled by at least one of them, maybe all 3.
Yeah, she went right into the trees.
Made that call on.
Yeah, all 3 right there. Nobody set in the paint. Tierney just goes, okay, I'll weave through you all and try and get a shot up there.
That's just a heady senior play as well. A couple of those defenders were on their heels. None of them had especially good position. Didonis recognized, gets to the rack. Good senior heads-up play for the Saints guard, who's off to an absolutely tremendous start to this contest. Give Didonis 5 points now in the quarter to go along with 4 assists. 4 of those 8 assists for the Saints, courtesy of Tierney Didonis. Well on her way to a double-double, perhaps by halftime. No good on the second rebound, but the long carom comes out, and the Saints keep it alive, earning the extra possession. Eternity Reed kicks it back for Dingus. Now to the corner. Back up top for Clear. Budeman on the drive, pulls up from 10 feet, knocks it home. The Saints absolutely on fire. Rust, what rust? 9 What in the world was I going to say there? 9 what? I don't even know.
A 9-0 run, I think, for the Saints, maybe. But again, Saints, they're playing really well, and now
9 points for clear. That's what I was.
There we go. Well, just racking them up real quick, and now we're going to see the Saints go into this 1-3-1 zone. And they love to do this when they have Dingus, Clear, and Reed on the floor.
That 3 no good. And Budeman comes away with the board. Clear, looking for some help, finds it in Dingus. Across the top of the key.
Gooey Ducks really trying to take away that pass right there into the high post.
Sutherland finds Clear with some space, and Clear already into double figures, and we're not even out of the first quarter. Ryan Clear was 17 in her last game. She's already got 11 here in this one. 24-9, the Saints with a huge first quarter lead. About 7 seconds difference between the shot clock and game clock here. 3 on the way is good. Much needed 3 points for the Gooey Ducks. Monique Bungay cashes that in. And the shot clock off with the final 10 seconds here of the quarter. Janelle Sutherland finds Eternity Reed, gets it back. Now Dingus will try for 3. Reed, the offensive rebound, got to get it off quick. The Saints won't quite do it, but what a quarter it was for the St. Martin Saints. They put 24 on the board here in the first frame, and they take a 12-point lead into the quarter break. Oh my God. Welcome back inside. We're getting set up for second quarter action here inside Marcus Pavilion. The Saints with an absolute blast here in the first quarter. They're having so much fun out there. They shot 61% in the quarter, 9 assists total on 11 made baskets. About the only thing the Saints didn't do well was shoot it deep from deep, 1 for 5 from 3, but everything else is rolling for St. Martin's in the first quarter. Offensive foul whistled against Eternity Reed, setting the illegal screen on the Saints' opening possession. Yeah, I think the second quarter.
Sorry to cut you off there. I think Chrissy Martin, what she's going to be most happy about, 9 assists, only 1 turnover, too. And so the Saints are playing very crisp with the ball, bringing it up the floor. They've had a couple players rotate into that point guard position. Right now, the Saints doing a great job taking care of it all.
Here's Bungay on the near side. Hands it off for Batoni. Nearly loses it. Able to recompose. Guarded by Sutherland. Sutherland gets the better of her. Good defense from Janelle Sutherland. She runs the break. They kick to the corner. Didadonis, a jab step, steps back for 3. Got it. Tierney Didadonis is continuing to play out of her mind in the first quarter. A 3 to open things up in the second. And the Saints back to a 15-point advantage, 27-12. The Saints can do no wrong.
How about that ball sharing from the 3 guards, Sutherland, Budeman, and Didadonis? They just rotated the ball perfectly in transition. That's one right there that the coach is going to want to talk about in film. That was perfect.
Jalen Sackrider with a nice move down low. Fakes one way, goes the other. Finishes foot in the paint. And the Gooey Ducks trim the lead to 27-14. Sutherland to the top of the key. Lauren Morris on the drive. Pulls up at the elbow, kicks to the corner. 3 on the way. That one bangs a little bit too strong. Ball last touched by St. Martin's. And Emily Nelson will make her way back to the floor for St. Martin's. Eternity Reed Make that Marin Budeman coming off the floor for the Saints.
Yeah, Jeff, I think Emily Nelson, I think it's kind of been a little underrated. You know, some of the things that you just don't see in the box score, maybe the stuff that she does on the court, but the Saints are one of the best defensive teams because of the improvements Emily Nelson has made. She's a force down low, and that's what the Gooey Ducks are trying to do, get her out of the paint because it's a nightmare to try and go around her.
Speaking of force down low, the Gooey Ducks tried to force it down low to Batoni. She couldn't handle the pass, and they turned it over. They look down low for Emily Nelson. She's got great position on Watson. Bullies her way to the rack. Can't finish, but she's fouled, and she'll head to the line.
Well, and another thing that I like that the Saints are able to do is they don't need Emily Nelson out there on the floor for a full 8, 9, 10 minutes in a quarter. They can bring her in spurts. They have a lot of different looks that they can go to. This Saints isn't a very linear team in the sense of they don't just play one defense. They don't just attack you one way offensively. They come at you different ways based on their personnel. That's what, to me, gives the Saints a chance in every single game. They have an answer. They can adjust. And again, with this defense, it's going to keep them in every single game they play this year.
Good effort from Lauren Morris to try to save it in bounds, but just wound up throwing it into the Gooey Ducks bench. After the missed free throw from Nelson, able to connect on the first of two. 28-14 our score, exactly 8 minutes left in the first half. A whistle away from the ball. Looks like it's down low and going against St. Martin's, and it is. That is the second foul whistled against Lauren Morris, and she will likely make her way back to the bench. She will. Replaced on the floor by Ryan Clear. Remember, Clear just unconscious in the first quarter. 5 of 6 shooting, 11 points. Gooey Ducks run a nice play off the inbound, setting up Batoni, who wriggles free, and she knocks home the 8-foot baseline jumper. 28-16 the score. Janelle Sutherland gets free. She'll try a mid-range shot. After her own miss, it's kept alive for a moment, but eventually makes its way to Batoni. And she moves it ahead into the hands of Shanice Garrett, who's on the floor for the first time for Evergreen. On the drive, this is Bungay. Strong move. Eternity Reed with a hard spill beneath the basket, and she is in pain. Oh, let's all hope for the very best for Eternity Reed right now. Back inside Marcus Pavilion, the Saints lead Evergreen 28-16. 2.5 minutes gone by here in the second quarter. Eternity Reed helped off the floor a moment ago. Good to see her at least back up on her feet. She went to the floor in obvious pain. Wherever you are, let's all hope for the very best for Eternity Reed.
Yeah, I never want to see that. Eternity, really nice. Helped us out a lot. In the fall sports, working games like volleyball and soccer, helped us out a lot. Really nice young lady. Never want to see that for anyone, though.
Foul was called on Reed, and it sends Bungay to the line. She's unable to connect on the first of 2 free throws. Eternity Reed replaced on the floor by Claire Dingus. And now Caitlin Yenny will come back on for the Gooey Ducks, and Jalen Sackrad will take a seat. Evergreen 3-4 on the season. They've won 3 of their last 4 after dropping their first 3 games on the year. So things headed in a good direction for Jackie Robinson's young team. Just one holdover from his team a couple of seasons ago. Dita Donis pulls up from the free throw line. That one falls off. And Adonis commits the foul on the open floor at the other end.
Yeah, Jeff, going back to your point, Dewey Ducks, again, we haven't seen them since 2017, but this team is definitely improving under Jackie Robinson. I mean, and when you only have one player back, I mean, we saw how hard that could be. Aaron Landa on the men's side had to go through that a couple years ago. It's a tough thing to do, but this squad, they've definitely improved a lot under him. And I expect the Gooey Ducks, again, they're just going to get better and better.
Tony commits the foul beneath the basket. Jackie Robinson's had success at each of his coaching stops. He's a former Gooey Duck player himself. I'll talk more about that here a little bit later on because I've got a couple of funny things, some anecdotes to share with you, Austin.
I'm excited to hear. You got all the information. You do all the work like a little Vince Scully. You got all the news and little tidbits.
Well, that's awfully generous of you, to say the very least. I don't know that my name belongs in the same sentence as Vince Scully's, but you're sure a sweetheart to say it. And the Gooey Ducks able to break the pressure. A little used pressure in backcourt. We don't see it much from St. Martin's. They show it there. Evergreen able to break it. It will result in a loose ball foul whistled against Trinity Batoni. That's her second. That's something to keep an eye on for sure for this Evergreen team. They rely very heavily on Batoni. She plays about 37 minutes per contest as well. So that is one player that Jackie Robinson can ill afford to lose from his rotation.
Well, and you talk about not a deep rotation as well. And so, for the Gooey Ducks foul trouble, that's going to have to be a management thing, especially with 6 minutes left to go here in the half.
More pressure in backcourt from the Saints. Evergreen able to break it. Batoni handles here between the circles where she's guarded by Ryan Clear. Leaves it off for Rachel Watson. Bungay steps out to get it. Batoni on the drive. Gets to the rack. Might have taken an extra step. Uses the rim for protection and able to lay it home. So while there might have been an extra step mixed in, she's still able to get the shot home. And it brings the lead back to within single digits. 28-19 Saints, 5:45 to play in the half.
And you knew the Gooey Ducks were going to make a run eventually in this game. This is it right here. Saints come up with the answer, and it's Janelle Sutherland.
How about Janelle Sutherland? Good to see her assert herself in the offensive flow. She's a very capable scorer for this St. Martin's team. Love to see Sutherland continue to play well for the Saints. Down low it comes for Watson. Nice little play, little two-man game as Shanice Garrett leaves it off inside. And Watson able to finish, back to a 9-point game. Adonis clears the timeline, guarded by Garrett, rolls off the screen, skips down the side of the paint. Now down low for Claire Dingus. Waits, I'm not quite sure that she meant to pull the little rope-a-dope move. It worked for a moment, but she couldn't finish. And here comes Batoni and the Gooey Ducks. Under 5 to play now in the second quarter. Saints showing some zone for the first time tonight. Here's Batoni on the drive. The blocking foul called on Ryan Clear. I think that's actually a pretty good call. Looked like Batoni might have already left her feet by the time Clear had her feet set. So, however, was she outside the circle? That's what looks like the referees will talk about. If they reverse this call, it will be huge, and it is. Wow. That now becomes the third foul on the Gooey Ducks' best player, Trinity Batoni, and Jackie Robinson with a huge decision to make. And he will have a moment to think about it because this brings us to a stoppage in play. 4:43 to play here in the second quarter, and the developing storyline is that the Gooey Ducks' best player, Trinity Batoni, just picked up her third foul. 30-21 our score, 4:43 left here in the first half. The big development, Trinity Batoni for the Geoducks just picked up her third foul. It was initially called a blocking foul, but after taking some time to talk it through, the referees deciding that Batoni did not have her feet outside the restricted area when she drew the foul, so it was instead called an offensive foul.
And you're going to tell your best scorer you want her to make that kind of a drive. You're not going to tell her not to do that.
Yep.
You know, and it's just Ryan Clear able to get there in time and a good defensive play. And so now the Geoducks here, you know, get a turnover. It's exactly what you needed. Now just slow the game down, look for a good ball inside, try and get some motion towards the basket.
Yeah, as good as the Geoducks, or as good as the Saints have been shooting the ball, they're at 52%. The Geoducks not far off at all. That's why they're still in this game. They're shooting 50% from the floor, and that just went up just a little bit more as Caitlin Yenny hesitated for just a moment, curled off the screen and able to float home. A little 8-foot runner from the left side, and it draws the Geoducks back within 7. They're not going anywhere right in this game and shooting the ball very, very well. Down low for Emily Nelson. Claire Dingus bounces the pass inside as Nelson flashes free. And another assist on a make for the Saints.
Well, the Geoducks saw Dingus trapped on the baseline, bring two to trap her. It was just an even better pass just to get out of that. Great job by Claire Dingus to read the defense.
And at the other end, Jalen Sackrider shakes free, and she pops the mid-range shot. 7-point game again. Sutherland thinks about a three, now puts the ball on the deck. Needs some help, finds it in Nelson in the high post. Looking inside, instead kicks back for Clear. Now Dee Adonis on the wing. 10 on the shot clock, bounces a pass inside. Back to Clear for three. It just does roll out, and the rebound cleared by Yenny for the Geoducks.
And Geoducks again keep coming up. They're denying that inside pass, any movement towards the basket. And they're forcing the Saints to take more outside shots.
Bungay for three on the near side wing, and she knocks it down, and it's a 4-point game. The Saints have led by as many as 15, but the Geoducks have trimmed it to 4 after Bungay able to knock down the long-range missile.
I think the Saints have to get the ball right there into the hands of Dingus. Let her work out.
Wide open three for Dee Adonis, and she crushes it. Tierney Dee Adonis answers back. After a couple of big-time body blows from the Geoducks, here comes Dee Adonis squaring one up and knocking it down. Back to a 7-point game as we near the 2-minute mark. Here's Yenny for three. That one halfway down, pops out. Strong rebound, Emily Nelson. Ahead to Dee Adonis. Walks into a three-pointer. That one a little too strong. Clear the tap out, but it winds up with Shanice Garrett. She wants to run. Gets into the body of Dee Adonis. Shot won't fall. Nelson the rebound. Back come the Saints the other way.
Saints have
ahead
numbers.
To Sutherland. Has to back it out. Now sets herself up for a 14-footer and knocks it down. So great to see Janelle Sutherland back in the offensive flow for the Saints. They're a much better team when she's contributing for this squad.
Yeah, we saw a lot of great things out of her that freshman year. We know it's there. It just all needs to come together. She can be an impact piece for the Saints off the bench.
Garrett back to Bungay. They reverse it back for Yenny now. She's on the drive. Lefty floater won't fall. Nelson with good box out position clears it for St. Martin's. Emily Nelson piling up the rebounds in this game. At the other end, it's Janelle Sutherland again. She's fouled and she'll head to the line. Janelle Sutherland already with half a dozen in this game, just coming to life in this second quarter for the Saints.
Well, and she's running the floor so well. She's getting to the open spots. She's pushing this defense, stretching them, and now the Geoducks are being forced here after this run by the Saints to bring Batoni back onto the floor.
This is a roll of the dice for sure for Geoducks head coach Jackie Robinson. Batoni back on the floor with those 3 fouls. Sutherland able to connect on the and one, but Dingus keeps it alive for the Saints. On her knees, whistles a pass back up top for Nelson, and it earns the extra possession for the Saints.
The Saints
Another hustle play from Dingus.
And you have to go right at Batoni right now on that far side.
Here's Sutherland will pull up from the other side. And that will fall as well. Janelle Sutherland with 8 first half points in this game for the St. Martin Saints. 41-28 the score. Shanice Garrett got a little deep underneath the basket. Her shot won't fall. She was contested midair, and she'll head to the line after drawing a foul on Tierney Dedonis, her second. Both teams now at 5 fouls, so final 47 seconds of the half anyway. Both teams in the bonus. Garrett steps into the first with 2 free throws. Bangs home the first. Ducks still continuing to shoot the ball very well from the floor. They're at 50%. That is what has helped them to keep hanging around in this first half.
Yeah, Saints again, one of the best defensive teams, and the Gooey Ducks finding a lot working for them. Neither side has really found their groove from beyond the arc, but they're getting a lot of stuff done inside. And again, great passing from both teams.
And the Saints with an opportunity to go 2 for 1. And Ryan Clear earns it for him as she knocks down the wide open 3. Give her 14 here in the first half. Those are her first points, however, of the second quarter.
Oh, we're going to get a Lucero special, the 2 for 1.
I love me a 2 for 1. It's the greatest thing in college basketball, and basketball, period. But Tony from the corner for the answer. That one falls off. Sutherland after the rebound. 1, 2, 3, 4 bodies on the floor. A jump ball is called. It will stay with the Gooey Ducks. I'm not sure what they'll do with the shot clock. Looks like they'll just shut it off, in fact. So while there was a 2 for 1 opportunity, the jump ball.
Kind of a 2 for 1 for the Gooey Ducks now.
By default. They look inside for Sack Riders. Batted around for a moment, able to recover it. Stripped away by the quick hands of Marin Budeman. Neither team able to get a shot off in the closing moments of the half. And we will head to the break. It's the St. Martin Saints leading the Evergreen Gooey Ducks 44-30 after 20 minutes of play. Folks, we will step away for an extended break, but please rejoin us at about the 3-minute mark on your timestamp on the clock. We will fire up the halftime show. So rejoin us in about 12 minutes time for a look back at first half stats and a look ahead to second half action. Game number 1 of the Capital Classic between the Saints and the Gooey Ducks is halfway done. Back inside Marcus Pavilion for the St. Martin's Women's Basketball Halftime Show. This is Jeff Lucero, and I'm joined right now by we'll call you our sideline correspondent, Khalees Alexander. Khalees,
yes.
You've been watching the first 20 minutes of this game, and you've got a few thoughts that you want to share. What did you see out there on the floor?
Yeah, so in our first quarter, our Saints were working on that defense, making sure we kept that ball movement to secure those open shots. I know our coach wants to ensure that any player combination on the court maintains that consistent point average. And so that first quarter, we scored 24 points. But after that injury in that end of that first quarter with Tierney Reed, we start to rely on our offense, and that's not what coach wants to do. So we're going to keep that momentum going from that first quarter and keep that going running into that second half.
So did you have a chance to talk with the coaching staff at halftime?
Yes.
Okay. So I know one of the things that was a big deal for us, we were looking at that number, the number of assists, 16 assists on 19 made baskets. Were they talking about that at all, and how well they're moving the ball around and sharing it?
Yes, and we want to do better on that going into that second half, making sure that we can stop that team from even getting close to that number that we're at right now.
All right. Any more halftime thoughts from you, Khalees?
No, that's going to be all for us. We just want to keep going and keep that momentum going into that second half.
Fantastic. Well, Khalees, thank you so much for joining us here on the halftime show. We'll take a short break and we'll come right back. And welcome back inside Marcus Pavilion for the St. Martin's Women's Basketball Halftime Show. Austin Burns back on the headset. Austin, the Saints shoot nearly 58% in that first half, 16 assists on 19 made baskets. There's not much more you can ask for out of this offensive flow for St. Martin's right now.
Yeah, they showed no rust. I mean, it doesn't look like they played 9 days ago. It looks like they played maybe 9 hours ago. I mean, they're locked in, ready to go. The defense was right there. It's about what you expect out of St. Martin's. I mean, they were all ready to go. The key players getting some shots up. And it was also great to see Janelle Sutherland get into the flow as well.
Absolutely.
Come off the bench and, provide some big-time scoring right when Evergreen was making those, like you said, those body blows, cutting the score down to 4. The Saints were able to respond with different ways.
Yeah, Janelle Sutherland not only with 8 points in the first half, she also had 3 rebounds and 3 of those 16 assists. So Sutherland doing a little bit of everything in just 11 minutes of play in the first half. So great to see her just regain that form. The Saints just so much more dynamic when everyone is flowing in this offense. It is Saints possession as we begin the second half, moving it left to right on your radio dial. They try to work it down low for Nelson. Unable to handle the entry pass from Morris. Now it's Morris on the drive. Hands it off for Clear. She'll pull up from the elbow. That one skitters around on the rim. Clear to the deck, able to find it. They kick it back for Dita Donis, who will try for 3. A little bit too strong. Yenny, the rebound for the Gooey Ducks.
I mean, that's just what St. Martin does well, again, on the rebounding. Nearly double what Evergreen has on the boards, 20-11. Again, strength for the Saints is the offensive boards. Evergreen has to find a way to cut down those opportunities.
Monique Bungay, the leading scorer for the Gooey Ducks in the first half. She had 9 points. The Gooey Ducks also shot it well, 48% from the floor. Here's Batoni drifting to her left with about a step inside the three-point line. She'll square up and knock down the 18-foot shot.
Yeah, right there, Ryan Clear had a one-on-one with Batoni, and with her 3 fouls, you'd like to see Clear take it to the floor, drive, and try and force some contact, because a 4th foul would be a huge break for the Saints.
Dita Donis rolls off the screen, fakes one way, goes the other, spins away toward the baseline, and knocks down the 7-foot floater. Tierney Dita Donis having a day for this St. Martin's team.
I think we're going to need to see that one in slow motion. That was, what a fake.
That was a next-level move from Tierney Dita Donis. A couple of bodies go flying, and I believe they're going to get Emily Nelson on the foul. She kind of just trucked Trinity Batoni. She was making her way toward the basket. It is on Nelson. Tony down low just muscles up against Lauren Morris and knocks it down. So back-to-back buckets for Batoni to get things going for the Gooey Ducks here in the third. Morris up top, guarded by Sackrider. Slips left to right, across the top of the key. Now it's Clear looking down low for Nelson. Met there by Rachel Watson, pushed off the block. Now it's Dingus down low with excellent position, but what a block from Caitlin Yenny. Giving up several inches to Dingus. Morris will try to get a shot off as the shot clock blows. Ball knocked out of bounds, last touch by the Saints. What a block. Caitlin Yenny, 5'9", going up against Claire Dingus. You don't see Dingus get beat like that very often. That was one heck of a play for Caitlin Yenny.
Yeah, especially that deep inside the circle. That's usually 2 points. Just put it on the board. Great defense from the Gooey Ducks.
Yeah, she had great position there. What a recovery from Yenny. Just see this kind of action. Wild shot from Bungay. Didn't have much of a chance. It eventually trickles out of bounds. Last touch by Evergreen. I guarantee you, though, that one's burning away in the mind of Claire Dingus. She's going to want to get the better. She's such a competitor. You know she's going to want to take it right at Yenny. A couple more points of this game for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And Claire, oh, what a feed to Clear, but then pokes it back out, and the Saints are able to regroup. Nice job by Clear to make the adjustment.
Morris skips it across for Clear, raises for three, a little bit short. But Tony after it, and she's fouled by Morris. A loose ball foul will give it back to the Gooey Ducks. That's now the third foul, I believe, on Morris, and it is.
Yeah, and again, going back, Claire Dingus only has 4 points here tonight. Kind of a relatively quiet night, 2 of 6 shooting. Still has 5 boards and 2 assists, doing what Claire Dingus does best. But that scoring output just hasn't been there tonight. I expect that's going to tick up by the end of this one.
Okay, hands it off to Sackrider. Now Batoni comes to get it. Drives on Dididonis, gets around her, and Dingus gets all the way to the rim. It was unprotected, but she couldn't finish at the rack. And another foul. Or was it just last touched out of bounds by Evergreen? I guess so. So no foul. Wave that off. It is just Saints ball out of bounds. Morris will take a seat after picking up that third foul. Back on the floor for St. Martin's.
Shania Louie.
Shanoa Louie.
Yeah, and she's really hasn't had a lot of minutes this year. Again, this is a very loaded St. Martin's team, and she's starting to carve out some more and more minutes. But she's a very talented freshman. You know, I think it's just, needs some more time on the floor to kind of get that, Division II level under her. She's going to be a player for the Saints. If you're going to have her as the 8-9 player on the team, your team's got a lot of depth.
Bungay the other way. Miscommunication with Watson results in a St. Martin's turnover. Now it's Shanoa Louie on the run out. She's fouled as she makes her way to the rim, and she will head to the line. Bit of a slow start for the Saints here in the third. Just one bucket through the first 4 minutes of action. Louie sizes up the first of 2 free throws. That one true. Coach Christy Martin has a little chat with Tierney Dididonis. She's got to be happy with all the production she's gotten out of her starting point guard. Dididonis with 13 points and 6 assists so far in this contest. Bungay the other way, a transition three, no good. Sackrider alone beneath the basket. She can't finish on the putback. Ball jostled out of bounds. It'll stay with Evergreen. Yes. 20 on the shot clock for the Gooey Ducks.
Saints had a mishap there on the defensive end, just forgot about Sackrider, and she was just all alone underneath the basket. If she could have come up with that rebound cleanly, that would have been an easy 2-pointer.
Careless turnover there for the Gooey Ducks as they are unable to connect off the inbound. Bungay's pass is a little too high for Yenny. We know she's got hops. She just went up on Dingus and blocked her shot. So that's tough to do. To whistle a pass up and out of the reach of Caitlin Yenny. Clear, pulls up, now kicks out. Dididonis will try for three. A little off the mark, a hard challenge from Yenny again. No foul, but Dididonis rips it away, and as the Gooey Ducks tried to push, he gets to the rim. It's a little bit too deep, and here comes Batoni the other way. Ripped away from behind by Dididonis. Up and down, frenetic action all of a sudden. DeDonis toes the three-point line. Got it! Tierney DeDonis settle things down right now. It was getting a little weird in here, a little unbalanced, but Tierney DeDonis just brings absolute order to the universe out of complete chaos with that three-pointer.
I mean, Tierney, just a senior play. Pulls up, nobody's going to check her. Wide open three.
Yeah, back-to-back steals as well. Bodies up against Watson there. Watson unable to finish at the rim. And that will bring us to a stoppage in play, but not before the Saints push their lead back to where it was its biggest point in the first half. They match it here at 49-34, 4:54 to play in the third. .454 to play here in the third quarter. The Saints with a 15-point lead on their crosstown rival, the Evergreen Gooey Ducks. One thing I definitely want to point out for everybody watching at home, Eternity Reed is on the bench for the Saints. Really good to see. Looks like she's able to move around under her own power, so hopefully not any kind of a catastrophic injury by any measure. We have no idea. I'm in no position to diagnose whatever happened to her. All I'm saying is that for right now, it is really, really encouraging to see Eternity Reed back on the bench, moving around under her own power with her teammates.
Yeah, she had some ice on her knee. That's now off, just sitting there with her teammates. Exactly what you want to see if you're a Saints fan. You know, again, that was a scary moment. Fun to see Eternity back on the bench with her teammates.
Saints turn it over out of the timeout. Trinity Batoni handles here. The only player for Evergreen in double figures to this point. She's got 11 points on 5 attempts shooting, also a team-high 5 rebounds. Drives here, hard spill, no call. Clear the other way for the Gooey Ducks. Batoni's fine, she's up and trailing the play. Now DeDonis handles here on the near side. Into the high post for Clear. Backs down on Batoni. Kicks back for Dingus. Versus now to DeDonis. She looks inside for Nelson, who has position down low. Goes to work, lefty shot blocked. Ball out of bounds will stay with the Saints, 12 on the shot clock.
Yeah, I believe that's the third block of the night now for Yenny. I mean, doing it all down low. Nelson had great position. That was just help side defense coming to take away that shot. Nice adjustment by the Gooey Ducks.
Nelson to inbound, feathers a pass up top for Clear, takes it out of midair, bounds around 3 times off the back iron, won't fall. It will stay with the Saints. That inbounds pass had some arc on it. Somehow Clear was able to time it perfectly because she's a good athlete. They try it again. This time it's batted away by Batoni. Winds up with Sackrider, and here comes Yenny for the Gooey Ducks. Yenny spins away from Clear for the moment. Clear retreats to get her. Down low, they look for Tasha Beckett. Can't handle the pass, and back come the Saints with numbers. DeDonis, no look pass for Clear, pulls up in the paint, rolls one home. Saints with their biggest lead of the game at 51-34. Another assist for Tierney DeDonis, give her 7 on the night.
And what a great job. She drives far enough that she's going to collapse all 3 defenders around her and knows she's going to have an open teammate to Clear who fills the lane perfectly. Again, that's a senior play to collapse the defense before kicking out.
At the other end, how about that play from Caitlin Yenny? The fall-away 16-foot lefty floater will fall. Caitlin Yenny really showing out for the Gooey Ducks, particularly here in the third frame. Sackrider the rebound for the Gooey Ducks. And here's Batoni, crosses over left to right, now back right to left. Steps around the defender and able to muscle a shot up and in. Now give her a baker's dozen on the night. Trinity Batoni coming alive here in the third as well. It's a tough, scrappy Gooey Ducks team. Wide open three. No good for Budeman. Yenny races the left side. Hesitates, accelerates toward the baseline. That pass a little off, but Evergreen able to recover. Tasha Beckett, look, she spins to her left, goes glass. It won't fall, and a strong rebound for Dingus. Beckett and Dingus tangle. They both collapse in a heap. Looks like they're both okay. Good to see.
And it's one right there for Becky you'd like to see go down. That was a great job working her defender all the way left, spinning back right, had the shot. One of those where you want that one to fall after doing all that work to open up a great shot down low.
So 51-38 our score. Saints had their biggest lead of the game a moment ago at 17. 13-point lead and possession. DeDonis on the drive, gets all the way to the rack, but blocked from behind. Tasha Beckett takes it out of the sky. So a few trips starting to pile up for the Saints. Beckett handles here. Dingus comes out to get Stackrider. Now Batoni steps back. That shot partially blocked, but she's fouled. So assess Marin Budeman with the personal, and that'll send Batoni back to the free throw line.
Oh, and talk about the job that Batoni has done this entire third quarter. Playing with 3 fouls, easily could have picked up a fourth and been on the bench. You know, out there on the floor, 8 minutes, no fouls. That's huge minutes right there, and that's something that, you know, head coach Jackie Robinson is going to take note of. He can trust his star player to be on the floor with foul trouble and not pick up that crucial fourth.
2 players in double figures for the Saints. Clear leads the way with 16. She's coming off a team high 17 in their last outing against top-ranked Alaska Anchorage 9 nights ago here in Marcus Pavilion. 16 so far in this one, and still 12 minutes left to play. DeDonis right behind her. She's got 15 points and that team high 7 assists. Just 1 turnover in this game as well for Tierney DeDonis. She is playing very well for Christy Martin and the Saints. Batoni hands it off. A long 3 cast on the way from Mungay. That one well off the mark. DeDonis wrestles the ball away from Batoni. And a jump ball is called. We'll stay with the Gooey Ducks. And a timeout called by Jackie Robinson from the Evergreen bench. It's just a 30-second timeout, so we'll keep it here. Although everyone's sitting down, so maybe it's a 30 that stretches to a full. So we will step away. 51-38 with 1:44 left in the third. A minute 44 remains in the third quarter. St. Martin's has yet to land that knockout punch. This Gooey Duck team, they've kept him at arm's length throughout this contest, but the Gooey Ducks have not gone away into the night at all. They trail by 13 with possession here. Unable to force a pass off the inbound to Batoni. It's knocked out of bounds by Marin Budeman.
Yeah, and Jeff, talk about that staying power of the Gooey Ducks defense here in the third quarter. Saints were shooting 61%, 53% in the first 2 quarters, just 17% here in the third quarter, 3 of 17. The defense for Evergreen State has been what is keeping them in this game.
Hesitation move for Batoni. Able to get around the defender, but leaves the shot short, and it rolls harmlessly out of bounds. So Batoni maybe a little bit road weary. This is their third game this week. They're coming off a victory over PLU. That's the one common opponent between these two teams. The Saints handled their business against the Lutes back early in the season, 64-41. Evergreen coming off a recent defeat against the Gooey Ducks. Against the Lutes, they defeated PLU 67-56, I believe, 3 nights ago up in Parkland. Well, this is the third game this week for the Gooey Ducks. Now Bungay a long three in front of her own bench, no good. Strong weak side rebound for Jalen Sackrider. Also plays volleyball for the Gooey Ducks. Spinning into the paint, this is Tasha Beckett. It rolls off the back heel. And the rebound for Ryan Clear. Dididonis clears the timeline, hawked by Bungay. Dumps it off for Clear, now gets it back. Dingus in the corner, rolls to her left. Now it's Clear between the circles, 12 on the shot clock for the Saints. Dididonis finds Dingus in the high post. She'll trigger from 16. That one falls off. More bodies on the floor. Something's got to be called here, and it's a jump ball. That will keep it at the Saints end for the final 14 seconds of the third quarter. Nelson back on for the Saints. Watson for the Gooey Ducks. Beckett steps away for the Gooey Ducks, and it's Budeman returning to the bench for St. Martin's.
Yeah, last time the Saints had a shot opportunity like this, they waited until about 3 on the clock. This time trying to go quick. Nearly works out. Clear has it in the corner.
Tries for 3. Got it! Ryan Clear sizes it up. Nobody stepped out to her. Everything broke down, but Clear just stayed calm, let it come to her. And that is the largest lead of the game as the third quarter comes to a close. The St. Martin's Saints have extended that lead, 56-38 now, an 18-point advantage as we head to the fourth. "30 minutes down, 10 yet to play here in game number 1 of the 2021 Capital Classic. And all of a sudden, the Saints have their largest advantage of the night, 56-38, as we head to the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and you're hoping that Ryan Clear 3 right at the end gives them the boost needed to wake this offense up again. The Saints shot just 5 of 21 from that third quarter, but defense for the Saints limiting Evergreen as well to only 27% from the floor. So, defense really showed up in that third quarter on both sides.
Yep.
We had some exciting first half action. We'll see, were the legs just getting a little bit tired, or were both sides making the defensive adjustments?
Might have been an extra step there for Trinity Matoni, but she gets free. That was a great set play out of the timeout for the Gooey Ducks. They work it to the high post. You see what they wanted to do. Roll Matoni off of that high post position player. She gets free for the easy deuce. 15 points for her, a game high for the Gooey Ducks. Nearly forces a turnover at the other end. Ball rolls to Emily Nelson. Now Ryan Clear on the drive. Beautiful pass inside. Sets up Dingus. What a look inside from Ryan Clear. And Claire Dingus with her easiest bucket of the night, all set up by the heads-up play from Ryan Clear. She's doing it all.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. She's doing everything for the Saints. The outside shooting, the inbounding, the passing. She's just doing it all. And again, she plays such great defense as well, and one of the best rebounders on this team.
Bungay thinks about a 3 now, drives, pulls up near the baseline. That falls off. Dingus the rebound for the Saints. Quickly ahead, this is Ryan Clear on the leak out. Leaves it underneath for Didadonis, but she'll back it out. Now a skip pass over the top for Budeman. Dingus fights through the double team. Able to find Emily Nelson, who rolls to the glass. Her shot falls off. And an empty trip for the Saints. 58-40 our score, about 8.5 minutes to play. Sackrider, a dual athlete at Evergreen.
Not an easy thing to do.
Not at all.
Especially if you're doing the volleyball to basketball. You got, you know, games and volleyball still going, like practice is starting, classes. I mean, that's, whew, I don't envy her, you know, her schedule.
Yeah, in recent memory, I for sure, the Gooey Ducks had another dual athlete that played volleyball and basketball. Her name was Chloe Hunt. She was a probably more decorated volleyball player than basketball, but she did hit a clutch game winner against PLU about 5 years ago, right, with about a tenth of a second left on the clock off an inbounds play. Jalen Sackrider is kind of the other way around. She's a good volleyball player, but she's a really good basketball player. She's a sophomore on this team, and she's going to be counted on to do a lot of things over the next couple of years for Jackie Robinson's team.
Yeah, there's no denying this Evergreen State Gooey Ducks. They got a lot of pieces, you know, and again, when it's a young team all kind of coming together, you know, a game like this is always really nice to kind of stress test a lot of different things, try out some new looks, and be able to try and plug and play. And I think this Gooey Ducks team, again, Cascade Conference, it's good head to toe, and Evergreen can make some waves in that conference.
Here's Sutherland back on the floor here at the start of the fourth. Leaves it off for Dingus. Little different defensive look here for the Gooey Ducks for a moment anyway. Now it's Morris on the drive. Her floater will go. Lauren Morris getting in on the act with a big smile on her face as she comes the other way. Still grinning as she picks up Bungay at the top of the zone. Switches off. A near turnover on Shanice Garrett. Now it's Sutherland on the run out. Kicks to the corner. Three on the way. That one a little bit too strong, but Claire Dingus there to clean things up on the weak side. And that's a 20-point lead for the Saints, and they're really starting to pull away.
Yeah, name a more iconic duo, offensive rebounding and scoring for Claire Dingus. I mean, you know, it's her bread and butter. And she, what amazes me the most about her, she just knows where to be. She knows where that ball is going. I don't know if it's the engine, or she's an accountant, I should say. You know, the numbers, doing the quick math in her head to figure out the trajectory of the ball. I mean, she's right there at the right spot.
And Batoni was in the right spot for the Gooey Ducks on that putback. She leaned square into the chest of Maren Budeman, draws the foul, and she'll head back to the line. Batoni was in pretty serious foul trouble in the first half. It has not come into play at all. She has yet to pick up her fourth foul. She's back at the free throw line, unlucky on the first of two free throws. She does have a team-high 17 points and 7 boards in this contest, so her number is really starting to pile up. And she knocks home the second free throw. So give her 18 now in the game as Didadonis makes her way back to the floor for the Saints. 7:16 left in the game. Game number 1 of the Capital Classic. Remember, we've got a second one to bring to you about 30 minutes after this one wraps. The Gooey Ducks and Saints men's basketball teams will square up for the first time in 2 years. These two teams haven't played one another in 4. It was just 2 years ago the last time that the men's programs tangled, and that was a great game. 88-83 was the final in that one. That was Aaron Landon's second career victory as an NCAA head coach.
Yeah, and I love
that was a great game 2 years ago here inside Marcus Pavilion.
And I love when we get to play these games. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing better than getting to play some local games in December, the tune-up, you know, right before you go into the meat of your conference schedule. I mean, these are always the best. It gets to bring out some, you know, local community, and it's always fun. It's just always a fun week of basketball.
Sackrider gets free. Her shot too strong. Janelle Sutherland covers up for the Saints. A lot of numbers piling up for Sutherland as well in this contest. She's been very active at both ends of the floor. Louie looks inside for Dingus. Dingus doesn't like the call. Thought she got pushed. Christy Martin doesn't like it either. She comes all the way down. She was leaning against the scorer's table. She came all the way back down the baseline to plead the Saints' case. They never change their minds, though. But it's always fun to yell and scream and pout and stomp your feet a little, I guess. I do that a lot at home. myself. Relatable stuff.
Well, and you just love energy. Doesn't matter what the
Absolutely.
score is, what point in the game. You know, Christy Martin's always going to be fighting for her players.
Passion and fire. That's what you look for, both in a player and a coach, among other things. 6:13 to play. Saints now shooting 46% from the floor in this one. Inside it comes for Rachel Watson, but she can't handle it. And here come the Saints. Adonis easing her way through traffic. Back into the corner for Sutherland. Skip pass up top for Adonis. Plenty of time on the shot clock for the Saints to run their stuff. Now Dingus inside. Had some space for a moment. Tries instead to angle a pass back outside, but it's picked off by Yenny. She handles here. Now Watson down low. Tries the right side of the lane. Shot too strong. Sackrider there for the offensive putback. That won't go, but she'll head to the line.
Yeah, I don't think she ever really had a handle on it. Kind of just more maybe those volleyball skills coming into play and just setting it back up there, which draws the foul.
That did kind of look like a volleyball set. Sackrider, 6 points, 5 rebounds in 32 minutes for the Green Ducks. She's been on the floor nearly this entire game. Bends at the knee, she's good on the first. Not sure, I can't say this with certainty. We don't have great records that go all the way back into the 90s between these two schools, but I don't think Evergreen's women's team has ever defeated the St. Martin's women's team. Don't hold me to that. And if in fact you know that I'm wrong about that, you're welcome to, I don't know, find me on Facebook, tweet at me, whatever you want to do. I'm pretty easy to find out there. But I'm pretty sure the Evergreen women's program has never defeated St. Martin's in the 20-plus year history of this rivalry. Remember, Evergreen Gooey Duck basketball didn't exist until about 1998 when they first started their program. Down low it comes for Claire Dingus as everything was breaking down for the Saints, but Evergreen just wasn't able to recover, and Dingus makes them pay. That should put Claire Dingus in double figures. Math ain't my strong suit either. Pretty sure that gives her 10 on the night. And a quick timeout called by Christy Martin, more just to kind of catch the team's breath, compose a little bit, and get set for the stretch run of this game.
Yeah, and I think, you know, again, being able to get some other players maybe on the floor, get some different looks. I'd like to see in the final 5 minutes here the Saints kind of run into their set offense a little more, run some plays. We all know the Saints can score in transition. That's their strength. That's what they want to do. I'd like to see, you know, some of these in the final 5 get some looks in the half court set, maybe work the clock down a little bit and try and work on those last, you know, few plays here in the playbook. Because again, the GNAC coming up in January, there is some tough opponents right off the bat in Simon Fraser in Western Washington. Western Washington currently top 10 in the country. Simon Fraser has a GNAC Player of the Year preseason on their team. I mean, that's some strong competition.
Between now and then, remember the Saints have 2 more non-conference games on the slate. Beginning next Thursday when they welcome Pacific up from Newburgh, Oregon. Make it Forest Grove, Oregon, member of the Northwest Conference. They're a D3 school. And then the following evening, next Friday, they welcome Simpson to town, a California NAIA school. And we'll take the holiday break and reconvene after the new year here inside Marcus Pavilion for more Saints women's basketball. But a couple more games to bring you yet here on the St. Martin's Digital Network. Be sure to tune in for those. If the Saints are able to hold on to this victory, they will move to 6-2 on the season. But Tony and Dingus tangle near midcourt. A held ball is called here on the near side, and it gives it back to St. Martin's. Really like what I've seen from this Gooey Ducks team. They have never quit at all. Tina Donis and Caitlin Yenny with some just some pleasantries exchanged there. You know, they're just kind of, you know, dapping up, sort of, as it were, so to speak.
2 point guards, you know, having a quick chat.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Playing with a little bit of a chip, you gotta love it. Now Sutherland with a wide open look at a 3, and she drains it. Janelle Sutherland joins Tierney DeDonis, Claire Dingus, and Ryan Clear in double figures after she knocks down the wide open three right in front of us. So good to see Janelle Sutherland refine the stroke here this evening.
Yeah, and she had a great first half, wonderful first half, and immediately comes in, first shot, no rust at all, and there's an opposite three. Gooey Ducks returning the call.
Yeah, that's Bella Jensen, a little used player in this team. She doesn't see a lot of the floor. She comes on and knocks down that was a good-looking stroke for Bella Jensen. Her first shot attempt of the night will fall from distance in front of her own bench. Now here's Clear for three, and she knocks that down. Ryan Clear now with 22 in the game. And the Saints move it back to a 22-point lead after Ryan Clear crushes the wide-open three at the Saints end.
Well, what's amazing to me, too, is 4 Saints in double digits right now, with Clear leading the way at 22, like you said. You know, the Saints, they're a very unselfish team. Everybody's getting their shots up. And again, Claire Dingus, you know, doing what she does best. 10 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. I mean, it just goes on and on.
A couple of players threatening double-doubles as well. Dingus now has 10 points and 8 rebounds in this game. Tierney DeDonis, 15 points, 9 assists. 9 assists in this game for DeDonis. Let's see if she can get to that double-double. Here's Dingus for three, and she buries it. Claire Dingus. And the Saints are just having fun at this point. They now lead at 73-50 with 3:20 to play.
Yeah, the Saints offense, when it clicks, this is a dangerous team. I mean, in my opinion, it's right there with Western Washington and Anchorage in the nationally ranked section. I mean, this team can do it all. It's just the offense has been a little, you know, hit or miss at times, but when it's on, wow.
Rebound number 9 for Dingus. One more. The double-double will be there for Sutherland's pass. A little bit out of the reach of Shinoa Louie. The turnover gives it back. And now we'll get our first look at Emma Reed, who makes her way to the floor tonight for St. Martin's. Giving way is Louie. She makes her way back to the bench. So Dingus and Tierney DeDonis, their night's not over yet. Both of them can still reach a double-double. We'll see what happens.
Oh, and I think you know on the stat sheet there it says 9 assists. I think they know that. They're trying to get the T to 10.
I was going to say that, but I wasn't sure if I should. What a beautiful step-through move from Caitlin Yenny. Just everything but the finish. Kind of lulled the defense to sleep. Now Dingus down low. Blocked from behind by Watson. But Emma Reed there to recover. They go back to Dingus down low. Goes to work on Watson again. Kicks it back out. Now Sutherland bounces it back for Dingus, but she dribbles it off her foot. 2:21 to play. Saints well in command. Their record will improve to 6-2. The Gooey Ducks record doesn't change. This is an exhibition game for them. Began the night at 3-4. And they will leave Lacey tonight on their way back across town to Olympia with that same record of 3-4. They have played well tonight. This score has kind of gotten away from them a little bit, but there is a lot of promise, a lot to be hopeful for if you're a Gooey Ducks fan. Jackie Robinson absolutely has this team heading in the right direction.
Yeah, and again, I think this is probably the toughest opponent on their schedule this year. And so when you get into that Cascade Conference, again, that's no easy stretch as well. You know, that was my old stomping grounds, you know, about 4 or 5 years ago. Saw a lot of basketball down there, and there's great talent at that NAIA level. And Evergreen, to me, they are improving. It's going to be fun to watch. I hope we get to see them again next year. You know, this squad, another year, all gelled together. This could be a very, very good team in a year or two.
Shanice Garrett connects on both free throws for the Gooey Ducks. Nelson and Morris back on the floor for the Saints. Dingus and Clear off the floor. Their night's likely finish, so Dingus finishes a rebound shy of that double-double. DeDonis still out there. Might get the assist here. Instead, Sutherland tries to whistle a pass inside for Morris, but it's a little offline. And the Gooey Ducks force a turnover, but Tierney DeDonis steals it right back. She's tied up on the three-point line. I just love seeing Caitlin Yenny and Tierney DeDonis going right at one another in the game's closing moments. I am very impressed with the moxie and play and athleticism of Caitlin Yenny here tonight for the Gooey Ducks. She has acquitted herself well. She guards Sutherland on the inbounds here. This game long since decided. The Gooey Ducks still battling right down to the final buzzer, and that's what head coach Jackie Robinson wants to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what I want to see. And Yenny has had a very difficult task. I mean, Dean Adonis is one of the best point guards in all of the West region. It's not an easy thing she had here tonight, and she held her own very well.
Nearly forces a turnover here, knocks the ball into backcourt. 10 on the shot clock as Morris retreats to get it. Shot clock winding down. Morris rolls off the screen, leaves it for Sutherland. She may have fouled out, and she does. She runs into Monique Bungay beneath the basket, and that's the 5th foul on Lauren Morris, so her night done as well.
And you love to see the charge under 2 minutes. Love that. Hustle play right there, getting in position.
Well, a timeout on the floor. Is this a 30? Is it a full? Everyone's standing around like it's a 30, so we'll keep it. Oh, we've got an officials review, so maybe we will step away here for just a moment. 1:35 left in our game. The Saints with a 21-point lead. So in case you missed it, before the game we talked a little bit about one of the kind of interesting ties between these two schools. McKenna Schultz, who played 4 years of basketball here at St. Martin's, played high school basketball just around the corner over at River Ridge for current Evergreen head coach Jackie Robinson. And she has been helping out with Evergreen practices here and there when time allows. So McKenna Schultz giving back to her former high school head coach, Jackie Robinson, as he is now in his 2nd season in charge at Evergreen. A former Gooey Duck player himself. Another tie between these two programs. Emma Kennedy, another 4-year player for St. Martin's. As Caitlin Yenny on the reverse beneath the basket, cashes in for the Gooey Ducks. Emma Kennedy's younger brother, we'll see him here in just a few moments. Lane Kennedy, he's a junior on the men's team for the Gooey Ducks. Another steal for Dee Adonis as she just takes it away relentlessly from Tasha Beckett. Gets it back. A minute to play. Sets up Sutherland along the baseline, and Tierney Dee Adonis has her double-double. 16 points and 10 assists for the Saints point guard Tierney Dee Adonis. What an afternoon it has been. Also a team-high 3 assists as well.
Oh, and I think the big thing is only 2 turnovers. I mean, that's going to stand out, a 5-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. What a game for the senior. No rust. When she's on this Saints offense, it's just at a different level.
The fist punch the other way. Sets up Reed. She might get number 11 here, but Reed's 3 a little strong. Would have loved to have seen that go down for Emma Reed. Now it's Garrett redirecting her way to the basket. Leaves it off for Beckett inside. Couldn't make the first, but the putback falls. And Tasha Beckett scores for the Gooey Ducks. 75-56, shot clock off. And very likely the Saints will just hold for this final 19-point victory. Saints very impressive right out of the gate in this game. Both teams fought so hard for all 40 minutes, but in the end, the Saints just way too much for Evergreen. And St. Martin's defeats Evergreen in game number 1 of today's Capital Cup Classic, 75-56. Fans, don't go anywhere. We will hear in just a moment from Saints head coach Christy Martin. The Saints women's basketball postgame show is coming up in just a couple of moments. And welcome back inside Marcus Pavilion for the St. Martin's women's basketball postgame show. We were hoping to be joined by head coach Christy Martin, but Austin, I think she's big time in this. I think she's just like, hey, you know what? I got the win. I don't need to go talk to anybody. I'm above the law. Well, we'll see if she does make her way up here. But in the meantime, what a win this was for the Saints. For the game, they wind up with 25 assists on 32 made baskets. They did such a great job of finding the open teammate all night long.
Yeah, I mean, they played very unselfish basketball. They moved the ball around, especially when Evergreen State started in that zone defense. You know, Saints did a great job moving in, get the ball inside, let the defense collapse, pass out, and that's why you end up with those 25 assists. And, man, talk about the night for Tierney DeDonatis, player of the game in my book. Just did it all for the Saints.
So, yes, for the game, the Saints shoot 48% from the floor, 36% from deep. They also out-rebounded Evergreen 36-31. That differential was much larger, but the Gooey Ducks did a much better job rebounding in the second half. How about Tierney DeDonatis? Austin, you just heard from you about that. A 5-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio tonight. Ryan Clear as well. She's now got 39 points in her last two outings. She has played just out of her mind the last two games.
Yeah, she has. I mean, you talk about the emergence of a superstar probably in this league. She does a lot of things well. She shoots from the outside. She can score. She can rebound. I mean, again, so much focus is on Claire Dingus. Ryan Claire able to make a lot of changes, a lot of impacts. Again, it's kind of a three-headed monster really with the Saints. And who are you going to guard?
Well, head coach Christy Martin now making her way over. She will join us here to share a few post-game thoughts with us. She's poring over the stat sheet. So 75-56 our final score. We are joined by Saints women's head coach Christy Martin. And Coach, you had 9 days off coming into this game after your last game was unexpectedly postponed, but you showed no signs of rust at all in that first quarter, racing out to what was at one point a 15-point lead in the first frame. How did you get your team so ready to play from the jump of this one tonight?
Well, it's funny. I actually missed a couple practices this week, and I never really do that, but I got a little sick from the booster. No. And so I would have to give the credit to my assistants who stepped up and ran practice this week. They did a phenomenal job. I think, every day I wake up and I legitimately am so grateful for my assistant coaches. Like, they do a remarkable job, and we're so fortunate to have them. And I wasn't concerned at all that being here. I knew that they would really pick up the slack, and they did a great job preparing us.
One of the numbers that Austin and I were just talking about a moment ago, you finished with 25 assists on 32 made baskets tonight. You guys did such a phenomenal job of setting up your teammates for the open spots on the floor. Just moved the ball around perfectly. No one did it better than Tierney. She finishes with a double-double tonight. 15 points, 10 assists, just 2 turnovers for her, a 5-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. You've got to be pleased with the way you guys shared the ball tonight.
Yeah, I mean, number one, it really starts with your point guard. It doesn't matter how good of a team you are. If you don't have that glue, that quarterback that's setting the table, then, you're not going to go very far. With T, she's just getting better and better and more confident, as you can see, every game. I mean, she's fun to watch, but she also just really loves her teammates and knows how to get them the ball in the right places to score.
Ryan Clear, 39 points combined in her last 2 games. She had 17 against Anchorage, 22 more tonight. She is absolutely blossoming before our very eyes.
Yeah, she's an incredible talent, and having so many people around that you have to focus on, it really opens some things up. So, when you have Claire Dingus on the floor and they were running a box and one on us for a little while, it really opens some things up in terms of lanes and driving, and allows her to get to the rim and shoot that short jumper that she's really good at doing.
Well, the first of these 3 non-conference games before we set our sights for the rest of the season back on GNAC play. You're through the first one, a 19-point win against Evergreen. You've got Pacific coming up on Thursday, and then Simpson the following night on Friday. Talk about what you expect to see from first Pacific next Thursday and then Simpson the following night.
Well, first, can I talk about Janelle Sutherland?
Sure, let's talk about Janelle, of course.
Yeah,
we were raving about her throughout the broadcast. So, yes, let's talk about Janelle right now.
Yeah, when she's confident like that, she's hard to stop, and
Yep.
she just doesn't miss. And
You love to see it.
That was really fun to watch, and she did just such a fantastic job running the show. I was really, really proud of her, and she just did an excellent job. So I just have to give a shout out to her that way. In terms of Pacific and Simpson, I don't know, because honestly, I take every game one day at a time, and so I have watched really minimal film on them right now. But by the time we get to game time, I'll have watched probably 30 hours of film on them. So, but I do know that Pacific is really hot right now, and they're coming up, and I've seen a few of their highlights, and they just look like a team that really likes to get out and run, and they've really come into their own, and so they're going to be a dangerous team for us.
Well, I am glad that you brought Janelle Sutherland back up. I did not at all mean to overlook her performance, because yes, we were throughout. She just came on, especially in that second quarter, and then again in the fourth. She just really found herself again. And you're right. When she's in the flow with this team, this is a much more dynamic, it's a much harder team to guard, and it's a much better team defensively as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, because I always tell her, like, you're the best shooter on the floor anytime you're on the floor, and we really want her to look to shoot literally every time. And she's such a team player, and she really likes to get the ball and distribute it. But we do need her to be more of a sharpshooter and look to get to the rim, because she can go by people. She's so fast. She can shoot it. She has such a beautiful touch, and she can get a shot off the dribble. So if we get her going, then it's going to be a really good game for us.
Well, Coach, congratulations on the win against Evergreen. If I'm not mistaken, I believe St. Martin's remains undefeated in the all-time history between Evergreen and St. Martin's.
Really?
I believe that's the case. I can't say with absolute certainty, but I'm pretty sure that is the case. So you keep the tradition rolling here tonight.
I don't know how long that's going to last with the way that Jackie Robinson's coaching.
Yeah, he's a heck of a coach and a heck of a good dude as well.
Oh, man, he's doing such a good job.
Yep.
When I showed up today, I was talking to his team, and I said, man, I'd love to play for Jackie Robinson. He's just a happy guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's just a really great person, and I think his kids are really lucky to play for someone like that.
Well, I'll tell you what, since you just told me as much, you haven't really had a great chance to scout Pacific and Simpson. Let's let you get to it.
Yeah.
Go enjoy this win first with your teammates down in the locker room, and then you can set your sights on Pacific and Simpson. And we will see you back here in Marcus Pavilion on Thursday night, okay?
Thanks, Jeff.
All right, Coach.
All right, see you later.
That is Saints head coach Christy Martin stopping by to share a few thoughts with us here on their 19-point victory against Evergreen here tonight. That's basically going to do it for us, Tier 2, on the women's basketball postgame show. I'd like to pour over the stats. By all means, make your way over to SMUSaints.com and look at the box score from tonight's action. We're going to re-rack things here, get set up for the men's basketball game between Evergreen and St. Martin's. That one's coming up in about 24 minutes. Our pregame show will start in about 15 minutes as well. So please, stick around for one more, folks. Men's basketball action between these two programs is coming up in 25 minutes, but the pregame show will start in about 10, maybe 15 minutes. We'll see you in just a few.